Hey, my name is Eden, and today I'll present you the paper Investigating the Value of Subtitles for Improved Movie Recommendations. This paper summarizes my master's degree in Software and Information Systems Engineering in Ben-Gurion University, and it's a joint research with Dr. Oren Sar-Shalom, Amit Livne, Professor Bacha Shapira, and Professor Dietmar Janach. So let's dive into the introduction. I'm going to briefly review a few concepts for a better understanding of the research. So recommendation systems are software tools and techniques with the goal of suggesting relevant items to users. It can either be to solve the rating prediction task or ranking tasks like top recommendations. Cold start is a phenomenon when the system does not have enough feedback from a user or on an item, or it can be both. Collaborative filtering is the main approach in recommendation systems. It relies on users, items, interactions, and it's highly effective to model user preferences, and it's very accurate compared to the alternatives. But it suffers from data sparsity and the cold start problem. For that reason, we have side information that can be integrated into the collaborative signals to tackle these challenges. One of the most popular domains which papers evaluate their algorithm on is the movies domain. But even though subtitles remained unused source for improving recommendation systems in this domain, background and related work. So the main three algorithms we relied on this paper are VPR, Bayesian personalized ranking, BERT, and LDA, which is latent directly allocation. VPR is an industry-standard method for item ranking, and the underlying ranking algorithm we tested on in this paper. BERT is an attention-based method which can be used for extracting representation from textual input using a pre-trained model. An LDA is a probabilistic topic model which we use for infer the latent topics and the distributions of the movies. BERT and LDA were the methods we used for feature extraction from the subtitles. Related work. This table summarizes the fact that we are the first to integrate subtitles for a hybrid recommendation system which solves the top recommendation task. Now let's discuss the methodology. So we propose in this paper a framework called Subtitle CF, which is a technical framework that combines user and item embeddings derived from interaction data and side information. The first component encodes the subtitles into an embedding vector which represents the movies, for example, by their topics. The second component integrates the subtitles-based representations into a collaborative filtering method. It can rely on any item ranking algorithm for learning the user item collaborative embeddings. In our case, we use a BPR as the underlying ranking algorithm, but other algorithms can be used as well. So, component one, we researched three different methods for extracting the subtitles representations, while the main ones were LDA and Langformer. In LDA, each movie encoded by its topics distribution, and later on, we use these interpretable factors to aid the user's decision-making process. In Langformer, we utilize a pre-trained model to encode the embeddings of the subtitles, and later we use PCA as a reduction technique to reduce the dimension. Component 2. The method we integrated the side information with the collaborative filtering embeddings was in a pairwise summation, but other methods can be used as well as concatenation and using a fully connected layer. Now let's discuss the experiments we've done to test our framework. First of all, we created a new dataset named Sublens 20 million, which is based on the MovieLens 20 million dataset and contains its subtitles. Overall, we could match the subtitles of 71% of the movies, covering 98.3% of the interaction. This dataset is published in the paper for the community for further research. In the experiments, we divided each user's interaction to train validation tests chronologically. We calculated accuracy metrics on the test set for each user independently and averaged it. We measured recall precision and DCG for accuracy and catalog coverage, catalog hits for coverage. Catalog hits is a new metric we proposed to measure the coverage of the accurate recommendations. The motivation for that was that a popular biased recommendation system, which randomized one item, can achieve high accuracy with full coverage. But we wanted to test the coverage of the relevant items, recommended to test how well the recommendation system recommend various set of items. So the metric calculates the proportion of the relevant items in the test set that was recommended for users divided by the total number of items in the test set. So can subtitles help improve the performance of collaborative filtering? As can be seen in the table, the recommendation system which uses long form of site information does not improve the general results. The reason for that rely on the fact that most of the test set consists of very popular items, the hottest ones, which means that a less popular biased recommendation system are prone to achieve lesser general accuracy results because of the risk it takes. But even though the recommendation system, which uses LDA site information, achieves the best result with small improvement in the accuracy metrics and the coverage one, around 3% improvement on the different accuracy metrics. We divided the items to 3 groups by their coldness level to test how well our framework handled the cold items. Each item belonged to a group called X if at most X users interacted with it in the training set. For example, in the cold 10 group, a movie will belong to that group if maximum 10 users watch this movie in the training set. As can be seen, even though cold items is a small portion of the interactions, there are many of them. For example, in Call 20 group, 43% of the items belong to that group, but responsible for less than 0.5% of the records. So when we expect how helpful is the use of subtitles in cold start situation, 2 phenomena can be seen. The first one is that both long-form and LDL-based algorithms achieve significantly higher improvement compared to BPR in dozens of percentage of improvement. The second phenomenon is the cooler the items get, the higher improvement. For example, in the cold 20 groups, the improvement are around 20%, but in the cold 5 groups are around 80%. Lastly, we wanted to test how helpful is the use of subtitles compared to another type of site information. So we compared our framework to the same one when we used synopsis site information instead of subtitles, and added an integrated version that integrates both site information and create one embedding vector to represent the movie. So generally, accuracy speaking, we can see that synopsis version beats the other algorithms. But when we look at cold accuracy metrics or the coverage one, we can see that the integrated version slightly win them all. We've done a user study to test another benefit can be achieved from the subtitles, which is how the subtitles can aid to user decision-making process. We've done a between subject study, which means that each participant belongs to one of 4 information groups. The minimal version, the first group, consists of the movie's name, year, and poster. The topic version adds topics word cloud extracted using LDA site information vectors. The synopsis version adds the synopsis, and the all group integrates all of the other 3 groups. We presented to the participants the corresponding information about the movie by the participant group and asked him to what extent he thinks he would like the movie, and followed with 3 questions regarding his difficulty answer, confidence in his answer, and the helpfulness of the information presented. We have 2 tables which summarize the results. The first one is all of the results, and the second one filter only movies which the user indicated that they haven't seen before. So when we compare results for 2 groups between the minimal and the topic version, we can see that the difficulty, the confidence, and the helpfulness improve substantially to the favor of the topics version, even more in the not seen movies, which is the second table. When we compare the synopsis version to the integrated version, which is the all group, we can see that the interest and the difficulty improved by the confidence and the helpfulness with slightly reduced. Conclusion and contribution. So for conclusion, the subtitles and site information has a high positive impact on the cold start situation. It increased the coverage of the recommendation system and can provide more explainable recommendations. Our contribution is the framework that we presented, Subtitle CF, NLP techniques for extracting information from the subtitles, a user study which researched the effect of subtitles on the decision-making process, and Sublens, the subtitle datasets, which is aligned with movie length 20 million. I invite you to read the paper for more details of our research. Thank you all for listening.